There is something happening to you right now, and you probably have no idea it is happening. Every single day, the people around you are collecting information about you. Not because they are bad people, not because they are plotting against you in some dramatic way, but because that is exactly what human beings do. We observe, we categorize, we file things away. And when the pressure arrives, when the argument explodes or the deal falls apart or the relationship cracks, that information does not stay quietly filed away anymore. It rises to the surface. And suddenly the things you said in your most open and honest moments become the sharpest weapons pointed directly at you. This is not paranoia dressed up in philosophical clothing. This is 5 centuries of human behavioral pattern, observed and recorded by some of the most coldly accurate minds in history. And today, we are going to break all of it down for you. If this is your first time here on Silent Strategist, the work we do on this channel is different from what you will find anywhere else. We do not deal in feel-good affirmations. We deal in the architecture of power, the psychology of influence, and the uncomfortable truths about how the world actually operates. If that is the kind of content that sharpens you, hit subscribe right now, because what we are covering today is only the beginning of what this channel offers. Every week we go deeper. Every week the strategies get more precise. Lock in before we go any further. You have been raised in a culture that worships openness. From the time you were a child, you were told that sharing your struggles made you relatable. That vulnerability was strength and courage. The people who open up, they said, are the ones who build real connections. And so generation after generation has been trained to bleed openly in public, to hand strangers and semi-strangers, and even enemies the most sensitive information about their inner world, all in the name of authenticity. And yet the most powerful people you know are not doing this. The most dangerous people in any room are not the ones pouring their hearts out over every conversation. They are the ones listening. They are the ones who give away almost nothing while the people around them give away everything. The philosopher and political realist Niccolò Machiavelli spent decades studying how power is actually acquired in the real world. Not the ideal world philosophers imagined, but the gritty, competitive, treacherous real world where human nature operates without filters. His core observation was devastatingly simple. The moment you reveal the structure of your mind to another person, you hand them the ability to control you. Not because they are evil, but because knowledge of your inner wiring is the most precise lever anyone can pull to move you in directions you never intended to go. Today, we're going to walk through 7 specific categories of information that you must guard with absolute discipline, because every single one of them, when placed in the wrong hands, or even in the right hands at the wrong moment, can be used to derail your life in ways you will not see coming. These are not dramatic secrets. Most of them are things you probably share casually, almost daily, without a second thought. That is exactly what makes them so dangerous. By the time we finish, you will look at every conversation differently. You will understand the difference between connection and exposure. And you will understand how to build a version of yourself that people cannot easily read, cannot easily manipulate, and cannot easily stop. The first thing you must never share is your ethical ceiling, the absolute limits of what you are willing to do. Most people think announcing their values is a form of strength. I would never betray a friend. I could never lie to a client. I would never cut someone off. These feel like declarations of character, statements that make you trustworthy and respectable. But in a world where other people are constantly mapping the landscape of who you are so they can predict how you will behave, narrating your moral limits is not admirable. It is dangerous. When you tell someone your red lines, you are not inspiring their admiration. You are drawing them a map of your limitations. If you tell your colleagues you hate confrontation and would never create a scene, you have handed every person in that office a perfect tool for dominating you. All they have to do is be aggressive. They know you will fold to avoid the friction. If you tell people you can never say no to a friend in need, you have opened your time and energy and money to anyone who wants to claim the title of friend and start making withdrawals. If you announce that honesty is your highest value, you have told everyone that you will answer direct questions honestly, even when honesty damages you. Machiavelli wrote about a prince being capable of both great virtue and great ferocity, not because he believed a prince should be constantly cruel, but because he understood that the threat of capability is itself protection. When your opponents do not know how far you are willing to go, they cannot confidently back you into any corner. They have to leave space. They have to wonder. That uncertainty is your armor. Live your ethics privately. Act with honor in your actions, yes, but never narrate your moral boundaries out loud. The dog that stands perfectly still and silent is far more frightening than the dog that barks, because you simply do not know what is about to happen. That uncertainty is not a weakness. It is your greatest strategic advantage. The second thing you must protect is the effort behind your results. We live in a culture that has romanticized the grind, the 3 a.m. desk photographs, the dark circles described as battle scars. People share this because they want credit for their labor, and that is a completely human impulse. But it is one that quietly costs you more than it gains you. There is an ancient concept from Renaissance Italy called sprezzatura, described as the art of making the difficult appear completely effortless. The most respected figures in any high-stakes environment were the ones whose competence appeared natural, almost inevitable, as if outcomes came to them the way breathing comes to ordinary people. Not because they worked less, but because they understood that revealing the labor behind the result diminishes the result itself. When you tell your manager you stayed up until 4 a.m. to finish a report, you think you are showing dedication. What he actually registers is that the work took you until 4 a.m., which quietly raises questions about your efficiency. What you meant as a display of commitment lands as an advertisement for struggle. When you tell a date that you spent hours getting ready, what they unconsciously hear is desperation for approval. The results are the only thing that needs to be public. The setbacks, the near misses, the self-doubt that visited at midnight, all of that belongs to you. When someone asks how you pulled something off, the most powerful answer is a calm smile and the words, "It just came together." Those 4 words do more for your reputation than 20 minutes of explanation. People follow the ones for whom winning looks inevitable. The third thing you must never broadcast is your plan B, your exit strategy, your safety net. Sun Tzu, in The Art of War, described what he called the death ground. When soldiers are placed in a position where retreat is impossible, they fight with desperation and ferocity. Comfortable people with comfortable options simply cannot access this level of commitment. When you tell the world you have a backup plan, you do the opposite. You signal that you are not fully committed to the outcome you are chasing. Investors stop betting on founders who casually discuss what job they would fall back on. Partners stop fully trusting someone who regularly mentions what they would do if they were single. And then there is the more practical danger. If your rivals know your plan B, they can target it. If they know your fallback is a specific company, they can poison your reputation there before you ever need to use it. Your escape route is your last line of defense. It must be invisible. The way you want people to see you is as someone fully committed to the current path with no version of the future without you succeeding exactly where you are. This conviction is contagious. It makes people want to rally behind you. Keep the parachute on your back. Just make sure nobody can see the straps. Drop a comment right now and tell me which one of these has hit closest to home so far. I genuinely want to know, because your feedback shapes where this channel goes next. The fourth thing to protect is the full extent of your intelligence. We are taught to speak up, to demonstrate our knowledge, to let people know we understand. The insecure version of intelligence does exactly this. It corrects people publicly. Interrupts to offer the right answer, cannot resist proving that it knows. But here is what that behavior actually produces. The moment you show someone exactly what you know, you show them the edges of your knowledge. You show them the specific shape of your understanding. And anyone who pays attention now has a map of your cognitive terrain. They know what you see and what you miss. The Machiavellian strategy is deliberate concealment, not incompetence. Just a strategic underperformance, appearing slightly less informed than you actually are. asking questions you already know the answers to, letting people explain things you understood 3 steps before they started talking. Because when people believe they are the smartest one, in the interaction they get careless. They talk freely. They reveal more than intended. They expose their real reasoning and motivations. While they perform confidence for you, you are quietly receiving the most valuable intelligence available. The most powerful application of this principle is when you discover a betrayal. The emotional response is to immediately confront the person, to show them that you know. But this is tactically disastrous. The moment you say, "I know what you did," the information value of that knowledge drops to 0. The surprise is gone. The leverage is gone. The strategically superior move is to hold the knowledge quietly, to continue acting as if you know nothing, to watch how they keep lying to you, and to wait for the perfect moment to act on what you know in a way that produces the maximum possible result. Information you are holding is power. Information you have already spent is just history. The 5th thing to guard is your financial reality in either direction. If you reveal you're struggling, you immediately become a target. People will sense desperation in your negotiating position and use it to extract terms that they could never get from someone negotiating from a place of stability. They will offer deals that insult your actual value because they know you cannot afford to walk away. And in the deep wiring of human social calculation, financial struggle signals something troubling. People begin to distance themselves, consciously or not, from the thing they perceive as failing. If you reveal you're doing extremely well financially, you unlock an entirely different set of problems. The requests start. Friends remember debts you forgot about. Family members discover investment opportunities that need just a small injection of capital. And underneath all of it, quietly and corrosively, is the envy. The resentment that your abundance triggers in people who are not where you are. Envy is not loud, it is patient. It works through small decisions and quiet sabotages, and carefully placed words that chip away at what you have built. The strategic position is comfortable ambiguity. If you are struggling, dress well and speak the language of stability, without claiming specific numbers. If you are thriving, speak modestly about costs and uncertainty. Keep the real number in a room that only you have access to. In any negotiation, the side that appears to need the deal less has all the power. Financial ambiguity lets you appear to need the deal less, regardless of what your actual bank account looks like. Now we are going into the deepest territory. The 2 things remaining live in the most personal rooms of who you are. And because they are so personal, they are the most dangerous to expose. The 6th thing you must never share freely is the full inventory of your resentments. The list of people who have wronged you. The names attached to your deepest wounds. There is a seductive temptation to bond with someone over shared grievances. I cannot stand my former boss either. My ex did the exact same thing to me. You think you are venting and building an alliance, but what you are actually doing is handing someone the precise map of your emotional triggers. When you describe the specific things that made your ex hurt you, you are telling the listener in exact detail which buttons to push if they ever want to cause you real pain. And there is an immediate practical danger. If you routinely speak negatively about people who were once close to you, the person listening will eventually make a very simple calculation. If this person talks this way about someone they used to trust, what will they say about me when I am gone? Every word you say about an absent enemy erodes the trust of the present friend. Machiavelli was direct about this. Either treat people so well that they become your loyal allies, or neutralize them so completely that they cannot affect you. But if you can do neither, ignore them entirely. Never complain about them. Complaining is the language of someone who lost. The powerful person channels everything that hurt them into the work, into the strategy, into the result. When someone asks about an old enemy, the most devastating response is simply that you wish them well and have moved on. That level of detachment signals that whatever happened was not significant enough to occupy any meaningful space in your mind, that you are so focused on building your own reality that the people who tried to damage you barely registered. Keep the resentments in your head. Use them as fuel, but never let them become public. Public resentment is a confession of damage. Private resentment is a source of energy. The seventh and final thing, and arguably the most important, is your next big move, the grand design. The plan you have not yet executed. This is the hardest to keep quiet. Not because the plan is dangerous in itself, but because of the way our brains are wired, around goals and social validation. When you announce a goal to someone who responds with enthusiasm, your brain releases the same reward chemicals it would release if you had actually achieved the goal. You get the dopamine hit. You get the satisfaction of having been seen and validated. And then, because your brain has already experienced the reward, your motivation to actually do the work drops. You have already cashed the check. Your system does not know it was a fraudulent check, so it stops pushing as hard. But the strategic trap is worse. When you announce your next move, you invite the world to respond before you can execute. You give your rivals the chance to move first. You give your skeptics the opportunity to flood your mind with doubt. Think of a seed. You plant it in the ground. You do not dig it up every day to show people it is growing. You cover it. You protect it. You give it the darkness and quiet it needs to take root. The most stunning kind of power is the sudden reveal. The person who disappeared for 6 months, working without announcement. The work was done in silence and released as a finished fact. The master does not announce what he is going to do. The master simply does it, and then he lets the results speak. If I share none of these 7 things, how do I not crack under the weight of it? You cannot carry this entirely alone. The person you can trust must meet strict criteria. First, they must have no incentive to harm you. There is an alternative that will never betray you. A journal. The written page is the most reliable confidant in history. Write your plans, write your fears. Get them out of the pressurized space inside your head and onto the page. The energy that was being leaked outward starts to accumulate. There's a pressure that builds like a steam engine with all valves closed. In a room full of people fighting to be heard, the one who remains still and quiet pulls attention. The reason we share all of these things is the same. We are asking for permission. We are asking for approval. The moment you stop needing the world to witness your choices, you become something very rare, genuinely free. Some people in your life will notice the change and they will not like it. They will use guilt to pry you back open. There is something sacred about the private self. The thing that cannot be known holds the most power. When someone asks about your finances, meet them in the territory of vague and boring. The market has been unpredictable. Strategic silence is the move no one sees coming. The plan that cannot be blocked. The weapon that cannot be disarmed. Nobody can stop a plan they do not know exists. Stay disciplined. Stay quiet. Stay building.